Shalom, Yasha'Allah. First and foremost, I want to get all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash, double honor to our apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect that switches the great gospel in sincerity and truth. This your brother Tazakiah Yahweh from the great millstone, Cincinnati camp, coming at you another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, and Lord willing to be edifying. Got an article here from Newsweek.com, and it reads, Taiwan prepares fighter jets to fend off Chinese warplanes crossing strait. And this came out today, August the 3rd, 2022, the year Yahweh Bashem Shai turned it up. And it reads, this is going to stay right here so I can X that right there. It says, in response to the 27 Chinese warplanes that have entered Taiwan's air defense zone, the self-ruled island dispatched fighter jets and deployed missile systems to fend off Beijing's actions. China reportedly sent 16 Chinese Su-30 fighters and 11 other jets into the zone, with 22 of the aircraft crossing the median line separating China and Taiwan. The island's defense ministry told Reuters on Wednesday the latest mission from the People's Liberation Army, or the PLA, was among a series of moves China has made after House Speaker Nancy Pelosi touched down in Taiwan amid warnings from Beijing. Her visit, which received bipartisan support on Capitol Hill, was the first from a high-level U.S. official in 25 years. China also summoned U.S. Ambassador Nicholas Burns to Beijing and halted some food trade with Taiwan in retaliation for Pelosi's stop on the island. So say, that could be something held over their head in upcoming weeks. All the food, causing food shortages, supply chain disruptions, and so forth and so on to Taiwan. Putting that pressure on them. It says, China had already, and there's a little image of some of the jets they use. It say China had already cautioned Pelosi with warplanes before she arrived in Taipei on Tuesday. On Monday night, Chinese ambassador to the United States, Qin Gang, shared a video showcasing the PLA on Twitter, writing, "This is the People's Liberation Army, the guardian of the Chinese people for 95 years, who will not sit idly by when it comes to safeguard national sovereignty and territorial integrity. Chinese military exercises are expected to take place within Taiwan's defense territory this week, an unprecedented move that a senior Taiwanese official told Reuters will amount to a sea and air blockade of Taiwan." It says, according to the PLA, the drills include long-range live ammunition shooting in the Taiwan Strait, and some will be as close as 12 nautical miles to the island's shore. It says, Pelosi, a staunch defender of Taiwan, defended her trip on Tuesday, saying she traveled to the island to make it unequivocally clear that we will not abandon our commitment to Taiwan. Taiwan's independence has long been controversial. While Taiwan is self-governed, China has held that the province will eventually join the nation under its one China policy. The Taiwan question is the most important and most sensitive issue at the very heart of the China-U.S. relations. China's foreign ministry said in a Tuesday statement that Taiwan Strait is facing a new round of tensions and severe challenges, and the fundamental cause is the repeated moves by the Taiwan authorities in the United States to change the status quo. Beijing has argued that President Joe Biden should have prevented the House Speaker's trip, but the White House has reaffirmed that the president does not have authority over the travels of members of Congress. White House National Security Council Strategic Communications Coordinator, John Kirby, told reporters that Pelosi's visit is perfectly consistent with American policy and that the U.S. doesn't want it to spiral into any kind of crisis or conflict. As they say, so, that's pretty much, what the article is speaking of. I looked up other, articles as well, but, this is showing, just the little provocation of the conflict that may arise with the tensions of them, visiting over there. So like I said, they prepared those fighter jets. They said they had jets flying around, amidst the visit or whatever the case may be. So, just, hey, as we pay attention to the things that go on in the world, this is something, definitely big to be paying attention to. Because while China did vow and they're going to do this, you're going to be met with military action, all this and that. They did vow and say they'd do all these things. So, hey, we're going to see if they're going to keep their word. But as they saying, it has been reports saying that they have moved more tanks towards the southern China border towards Taiwan, and they said they're making moves, moving things here, moving things there. That's what's being said. But at the end of the day, when y'all make a statement that y'all going, do this and do that, hey, well, we expect to see it. The world does too. And actually, it's like, yeah, it was something over here. I had it, but it like kind of right here. Just to read just a little bit of it. So this is from CNN. It says, does Taiwan have its own airspace? China sets military drills close to island at the Pelosi visit. And this also came out, today, August the 3rd, 2022, the year Yahweh Shemashah turning up. And it reads, China gave a preview Wednesday of what might be coming for Taiwan by sending 27 warplanes into the island's air defense identification zone, a buffer of airspace commonly referred to as an ADIZ, according to Taiwan's defense ministry. 22 of those jets crossed the median line of the Taiwan Strait, an unprecedented number since the island began publicly releasing the information about China's incursions into the ADIZ and, about 2 years ago. A flight map provided by the ministry showed, it says, the incursions come as China begins military drills around Taiwan to protest this week's visit by U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. So pretty much, flexing their muscle, like showing you, like, hey, man, is this what you really want to deal with? Because definitely, U.S. is, even though you got embassies and ambassadors, this and that, hey, man, the U.S. is they far away. Now, of course, they do have, allies, within, with Japan and, South Korea that's, particularly close, but, you right next to the Chinese mainland. They already got then they could bring their whole damn army, their whole military over there if they wanted to. But this is just to show, the muscle, the flexing their muscle as far as what they can do. It says the Chinese Defense Ministry released a map of 6 zones around the island where it plans to conduct air and sea exercises and long-range live-fire exercises as part of what a spokesman described as a blockade. Ships and aircrafts have been warned to stay out of the area during the drills. The exercise areas announced by Beijing extend well into Taiwan's ADIZ and in some cases encroach on the island's territorial airspace, an area recognized by international law as extending 12 nautical miles or 22 kilometers from the shore. So it says China to hold 4-day military drills surrounding Taiwan. Beijing announced the drills after the arrival of U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi on the island Tuesday. So it makes, brings the thought of, hey, shit, what if I don't know how long she's supposed to stay there, but what if she planning to leave tomorrow or the next day after that within that time period zone? They could be deemed as an enemy and they could be shot down. That's why you warn the people. It's a military exercise zones announced by Chinese Liberation Army. And you see, those are the zones. You see, look how close Taiwan is to China, within the South China Sea. So it's like it ain't too far for them to get at you. An analyst says it's an extremely provocative move. Carl Schuster, a former U.S. Navy captain and former director of operations at the U.S. Pacific Command's Joint Intelligence Center, said China is going a lot farther than it has ever before in putting its military assets close to Taiwan's shore. Beijing's threat has prompted much discussion over what exactly constitutes Taiwan's airspace, and if it's recognized under international law. Here's what you need to know, and it just talks about this is the air defense identification zone. It's a self-declared zone, when so just looking at some of the images. And it's just talking about, going into the sovereignty of the land. So that, so this is just talking about like air zones and what could be done, this and that. Whatever the case be, you get the gist of what's going on. China, they was not definitely was not happy with the visit, and they they send the jets, and that's showing showing them that those provocative measures, as they said. So like, yeah, it says so yeah, at the end of the day, and this is what I said, through the spirit, when I first started covering the whole, Russia Ukraine thing, as well as other men of the Lord, whatever that they're doing. It says what I said was shit, the same thing that's going on with Russia Ukraine or whatever it is supposed to be going on, that whole fiasco. The same thing can happen over here with China and Taiwan, right? Because They definitely been, like they said, they definitely claim Taiwan as as underneath, pretty much part of their territory as part of China, the one China, this and that. So, I mean, what much can you do being a smaller so-called self-governing nation against a superpower like China? You really can't do much about it. That's why they have these, these talking to these other nations to become allies and so forth and so on. You got people like, also like Australia back in, Taiwan and all this and that. So, Esau always got his hand in some mess, just in somebody's damn business. But I was just saying through the spirit, like as a man, like, hey, this could be the next, a conflict that could happen. A Chinese type, China Taiwan, Taiwanese, type of war type of thing. That could be the next thing that's going on. As they take the attention of the people, and they do all their little underhanded works underneath the tables. Ultimately, what preparing the MOTB to be presented to the rest of the world. Because why? Not only this is going on, you got blockchains, disrupting, supply chains being disrupted, famines, you got pestilences, you got economic crisis on the loom. All these things are going on right now. And then you got these wars and stuff that's going out that can do what? Ultimately sway you. Not even talking about the people over here in Babylon the Great, because people over here just, you can just put anything out there and they just sway and they go follow and they believe it, But that's pretty much all that I got on that. Like, mainly, I don't want to make this too long. Really just got one precept. If any come to mind, Lord will, I'll just bring it out. But really just hammer it home on, just these little couple of verses right here, because it's just apparently this is what the times that we're in, and this is also seen in red, spoken by our Lord and Savior Yahushua HaMashiach, as far as concerning the times that we ought to be looking for, seeking before His arrival, and what will be happening in the world. So this is Matthew chapter 24, verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, right? You hear of wars, mainly with this Russia-Ukraine thing. You hear war over there. You hear the wars going on in Syria and other war-torn places in the Middle East. These proxy wars, smaller wars, civil wars, all these things that are going on right now. So you hear of the wars, right? And those wars are actual wars going on. And then rumors of wars, right? Because what's a rumor? Get it real quick. A rumor is, it says, a currently circulating story or report of uncertain or doubtful truth. So it's something that's lingering in the air. It's uncertain, or it's uncertain if it's true or not. It may be, it may be not. So it's something pretty much just something that's not declared to be, there's no concrete evidence to prove it, to say without a shadow of a doubt that this is a rumor, this is what's going to happen. It just talks about it. It could say be circulated as the verb is be circulated as an unverified account. It's rumor. So it's something, like I say, gossip, hearsay, talk, the word of the street, So it's something that's being said or spoken of, but it's, you can't really put your finger on that as if it's exactly that. And y'all know what rumors are, But just saying with a rumor, so this is going into this, like this thing, these fighter jets scrambling around, they begin to send these warplanes, these drills. Also, I believe the RIMPAC, war games, it's supposed to be like 22 nations. That's supposed to start this month too. So you got all these things going on that points to or leads to possible preparations for what? War, But at the end of the day, this is also like saying rumors of war. So this could be a rumor. If something may pop up over there, we don't know. You pretty much got to stay tuned and find out to see if it's an actual declared truth, right? It's see that you be not trouble. So when you see all these things come to pass, whether it be the nations against nations, kingdom against kingdoms, sedition, uproars, famines, all these things, all these perilous things that are written aforetime to happen in these latter times that we are living in, when you hear these things, they say be not trouble. So don't worry about it. Don't be feared. Don't be fearful. Don't be scared. Like Elder Yashawam will always speak about, he always say, and he just definitely did a lesson on a few days ago talking about what? Don't be offended in prophecy. Here it is, you teach about these things, you prophesy about these things, but then they come to pass, then when they happen, then what? You get scared, you get shooken up, you get offended. You cannot be in that spirit. These are the things that we hoping for, we hasten, and we rejoicing for when these things come to pass. Because prophecy is, like I said, the Lord is making good His word that He's spoken through our mouths to the nations. So this would be something you should rejoice in, that the Lord making good His word. As we know He's going to do anyway, but we actually get to see it in real time. You see what I'm saying? It They say what? So you ain't supposed to be troubled, man. You ain't supposed to be in there. Oh man, what's going on? What I'm gonna do? We're worrying about this and where? Oh, well, this happened. If the shortages come, then what I'm gonna eat? What I'm gonna get? If the supply chains disrupt, what I'm gonna get? Or if the economy collapse, what I'm gonna buy? You know what I'm saying? These not supposed to be worrying about these things. All these things are supposed to happen before the salvation of the elect, or of the hopeful elect. So you're supposed to be rejoicing and happy. Like I said, just rejoicing when these things come to pass. It said, well, for all these things must come to pass. So they gonna come to pass. They must come to pass. So it's best for you to give it the program and just accept it and be happy that Yahweh Shemashah has shed this light upon you, and gave you this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to understand what's going on in these latter times, so that you may be saved, that you may be prepared for the day of battle, so to speak. As Ezekiel 13 speak about. So you prepare. You know what's gonna come around around the pipe. You know what I'm saying? Like with these things going on, and that's what you can quote. Oh, that's that scripture, and that's that scripture. When everything go dark, so to speak, shit hit the fan, Jacob's trouble, so to speak. Right? If you have a fearful heart, hey, how about Shemashah is not going to defend you. So we also all, of course, all pray for faith and do all things we can do. Just to ultimately, stay in the spirit. Ultimately, it's up to the how about Shemashah to do so. But you're not supposed to be saying those doubtful things and fearful things. He that is, say he that, I think, he that doubt is damned if he eateth. As scriptures say, roughly paraphrase. So if you doubt, you're already condemned. So you need to, hey, man, we all need to pray, definitely for more faith. But they say for all these things must come to pass. So it's going to happen. It's going to come to pass whether you like it or not. But the end is not yet. So even with all these troublous, perilous things and troublesome things going on, hey, stay tuned, because more is to come. For nation shall rise against nation, as we're seeing right now. These two nations are against each other, as far as diplomacy, the rhetoric that's going on. They have two opposing ideas, but one nation say you're going to do this, the other nation, they say, no, we're not going to do that. They against each other. Russia and Ukraine against each other. America and Iran against each other. Israel and Iran against each other. America and Russia against each other. China against each other. All these nations, various nations, are against each other. And with their allies as well, who behind them, who going to be backing them. Hey, you got a problem with my friend, my brother, whatever, you got a problem with me too. You get what I'm saying? These other nations who accompany them, allies unto them. Just give them the idea. And kingdom against kingdom. And not only the nations in themselves as a whole, but also the nations within themselves, amongst the people. The vision amongst the people within those nations. Hey, that's part of prophecy as well. Right? Egyptian against Egyptian, so to speak. Right? So even the nations within themselves being separated as far as the nations and kingdoms. And it says, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. These things are running rampant right now in the earth at a high value than they ever had before. It's apparent, as the Lord has made it manifest, that yes, you are in those latter end. You are in the end of the days, right? We are in that time. We are that generation that, hey, that's pretty much through the spirit that we believe, that we go and witness the return of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach and the holy angels. Going to witness World War III, the MOTB, Jacob's trouble, all those things that are written aforetime to happen in these latter times. We believe that through faith. And it's evidence through the prophecies and through the faith that it's happening right now, and we just that much more closer to salvation. So you must hold on and buckle, be grounded and buckle in, and hey, man, and stay true to Yahweh Shai. It says all these are the beginning of sorrow. So these are the beginning of those birthing pains. These are the beginning of the sorrows, right? Because what happens during birth? Hey, each and every minute that goes by when the water breaks, well, it gets more troublesome and more troublesome, more pains, and they slack not a moment. Those are the time periods that we in right now. The pains that are hitting the earth. The mournings, the great death, all those things are about to come to pass. These are all the beginning of sorrows, and right, we at the beginning of it. That means what? As I was saying before, it's going to get worse. Trust and believe that, right? It is manifest that we are in the end, right? So, like I said, these wars, like I said, hey, the wars is part of, prophecy, and that's just, and I just want to end on that. So just understand, these nations going to go to war. Right, whether they have their own little small wars within themselves or war, don't matter. War is prophesied, it's gonna happen. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 9.